Hi YouTube. So lately I've been playing a lot of Factorio, and normally I don't really share my creations in any way, but I showed this to a friend of mine and he asked me if I can do a YouTube video about it, so here we are. So basically I'm like really far into the game. This map has about 300 hours, so yeah, I've been doing a lot of optimizing, and I'm not going to go into all the details because I'm not going to be sitting here for hours. But I do want to point out like one structural thing I did, which was put everything into kind of city blocks. So first things first, what I did is I went in all bots. I always go in all bots. It's just very easy, I think, and it gives you very clean designs. Basically, you don't have to care about logistics anymore, except for spaceships. Yeah, but yeah, it's simple. Let's put it this way. And what I did is I put everything into blocks which are more or less of this size, right? So you can see that I have the roboports around here, and then I put something inside. So basically, all my blocks look this way. This is like the main research block. If you go and look at a production block, it looks like this. So you have these blocks, bots flying around, producing stuff, trains going in between these production blocks. So here maybe we have a production block for yellow science. And yeah, and I think it's really clean. The way this works, and I did do some tweaking to it, is or I'll explain in a second. But basically, you can do this on every planet, right? So on Vulcanus, I did exactly the same thing. Just a bunch of blocks with robots flying around. Gleba, same thing. Gleba is the only one which has an exception in the sense that there are some defense blocks. Yeah, so you have a bunch of defenses going around the farms. Fulgora, again, same thing. You don't see anything flying around here because the stash is full, I guess. I have enough science packs, so if I have more than 120,000, it just sort of turns off the whole blade base. And Aquilo is special in a sense. Here you don't have the same design. It's a sort of different design, but again, sort of the same. You also have blocks in a sense that you have repeating structures for each type of object you can make here, and yeah, that also makes it look kind of clean, except, I mean, compared to the starter base. Starter bases are always not so nice, right? So yeah, but let me explain to you how this works before this gets too long. So it's actually very simple. As I said, you have a block like this. You can... I mean, these are legendary. They don't have to be legendary. There's no need for them to. It's just at this point in the game, basically everything I produce is legendary. And yeah, then you start filling in these blocks. So if you want to make something specific, you start filling in these blocks with whatever you want to make. And I do classify these things, so it's not like I say, okay, now I want a block for plastics, or now I want a block for sulfur. It's more like I want a block which has 2 items going in, 1 item going out, which has 1 fluid going in, 2 items going out, whatever. But anyhow, so there are some things I did to this which make it sort of easy and sort of scalable in a sense. So let's say we are producing stuff in factories. Yeah, so then what I would do is just have these factories go around, and then you have beacons. You always have beacons, right, like this. You can put some stuff in there. Where are my modules? Here. Modules here. Usually I have the setup ready with productivity modules. And then what you would do is, if you're going for all bots, you would have something go in, something go out, right? And then you would put your your boxes there. So you have a requester for stuff going in, you have the red one for stuff going out. So normally what you can do now is you can just say, okay, I want to produce engines, and then you could go here and say request whatever you need for engines. So what I see a lot of people doing is shift right click this guy, shift left click this guy, and then you have it automatically here. I even got more lazy than that. I didn't want to kind of select every box separately. So what I did at some point, and I thought that was kind of neat, I started thinking about the circuits, right? So circuits are always good in late game. And what you can do is you can read ingredients here, and then you can set requests here. And the problem with doing it like this, however, is that your requests are really low. So now a bot will come, fly, put in the stuff for one motor is produced, and then another bot has to come, fly, put in the stuff. So this doesn't really work. What you need to do instead is you need to use some arithmetic stuff to increase this number. And just check where I got those. Oh, yeah. So instead you do something like this. You say everything goes in here, gets multiplied by 10 or whatever number you need, and then you output each again. And yeah, then you have something you need or something you can work with. And this is then easily scalable. So now if I switch this, if I say, oh, I misclicked, I didn't want motors, I wanted something else, let's say low density structures, for example, then it automatically changes. You can have trash unrequested, so then it trashes whatever you had there before. Yeah, now this becomes scalable. So now you can take this, or let's take this one out again, take this, copy it a few times, copy it around here, whatever. Yeah, I mean, you get the point. So, oh, no, not like this. Okay, but that makes it really, really good. So, yeah, and then you got your block ready. And you can produce whatever you want in here, right? And then you just go ahead, make a second block over here, another block here, another block here. So in principle, you obviously want to have blocks which have items building up on each other, like kind of close to each other, because you don't want your bots to be flying around for hours, right? So then they only have to go from here to there or whatever. Let's find an example. Go over here to this one. So it's pretty active. So for example, I'll want to have the red and green circuits kind of close to where I make the blue ones. I want to have the copper cables close to where I need them for the green and red circuits, right? So you don't want them flying too far, and then it all becomes manageable. Let's put it this way. In my opinion, actually going bots in the end is basically the only way you can really be really big. But I guess there are other bases too. People who do it differently, but yeah, otherwise you need a lot of space. Let's put it this way. And it's really space efficient. I mean, this thing here produces 350 greens per second, and I mean, if you have multiple of these so close to each other, and try taking that out with belts, it's gonna be hard. You're gonna need a lot of space for belts and logistics and whatever, and with bots it's just really, really easy. Okay, I mean, as you can see, I did do a lot more than just these types of blocks. You can do the same with these. The only thing which changes sometimes is that the beacons aren't on the inside, now they're like here on the outside, and that works well with the bigger buildings. Yeah, if you have, let's say, or these buildings as well, same story, just put them on the outside and you have these on the inside, but I'm not going to go too much into the details there, maybe do that in another video. Fluids is a totally different story. So for this to work with fluids, you'll need to use barrels. If you don't use barrels, then you have to do a lot of thinking and designing your base. But if you use barrels, then you can just continue with the same block structure, and then the idea is that you have a certain number of fluids going in and you have a certain number of fluids going out. So in this example, I have, yeah, one fluid going in and one fluid going out. On this side, it's a little bit different, or actually it's the same. The only thing which is different here, because I built all these things on water, I don't need barrels for water. I can just take the water from the ground, right? So that's a little bit different here, but in principle, you could also have something for water over here, which then dumps water into the pipe. Okay, good. So that's my block structure. I think it's a very neat way to get your bots running, and it's very nicely scalable to all types of planets as well. Maybe just one last note on pipes. So there are like certain pipes or certain planets where you want to have external pipes coming in. So for example, lava, you can't put lava in barrels. So in that case, what you can't do obviously is just have your block somewhere on the side and then pass the pipes through from block to block. And I did do that for the foundries a lot. So the foundries are dependent on a lot of fluids, right? So you'll see blocks with foundries are usually like next to each other, passing on the fluids. And you'll see that on volcanoes, on Novice, the same thing, because at some point foundries are just more efficient. So yeah, you'll see right here. So here, for example, foundries are making molten copper. They pass the fluids on to the next foundries, and they then, yeah, use this molten copper to make copper cables or whatever they need, right? So that's the only thing with fluids. You are kind of confined to building the blocks next to each other if they rely on each other. But other than that, put everything in barrels and you're fine. Okay. So that's it on the basic of this this factory. This is really like the basic building block of this factory. And then it gets to scale up a little bit. Yeah, so if you enjoy this, maybe I'll make some more content on how these bases are built. At the moment, I mean, there's always a bottleneck, right? So I don't know what it is at this moment, but yeah, I'm like at around 500,000 minutes per, or science per minute, something like that. So let's just watch it pick up. Now the bots are collecting again. And actually, I don't think you need that many bots. It's like in this base, it's around maybe like 6,000 working. And okay, it's 6,000 only in this area, right? So over here we have. Oh, this one is actually obsolete at the moment, like doing 500. This one is a little bit more busy, 3,000. So yeah, I mean in total maybe bots flying around at the same time 60,000. If you count in the other planets too. So I think it's fair. Okay, but here we are, science per minute, like 480, 500,000-ish. Depends on what you're researching. It'll be higher if you have more bottles being used, yeah, but that's fine. And I guess my bottleneck, the main one, is actually still Gleba. I can't, if I were to, for example, take something which needs a science from Gleba, it's gonna drop down at some point because I don't have any more science from Gleba, so yeah, there's always a bottleneck. Okay, hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, let me know.